Hello and welcome to another video. I'm the Foxed One, and today I'm going to be talking about my laser eye surgery. I had PRK surgery done. This was my second time getting this surgery. I had it done once when I was in my 20s. Anyway, so I'm just going to talk all about it. We're going to break the video down into, I think it's 6 parts. So like what it is, then the prep, then surgery day, recovery, eye drops, and mood. So I'll break the video down into those 6 parts. And yeah, so what it is, PRK it's a photorefractive keratectomy, something like that. Anyways, so it has a laser and it goes right through the cover of your eye. It changes the shape of your eye basically, or the lens or whatever in there. There's kind of the two, there's PRK and then there's LASIK, and LASIK is like cutting the flap, opening it, then shooting the laser in. The other one just goes right through the top. So it has a longer recovery time. There's like pros and cons to each one. At the office there, because I had done PRK before, they just like to do the same surgery. So lots of times people will get PRK if they have a really active lifestyle, because the flap from LASIK can like get, dislodged and that sort of thing. Also, if you're a little bit older, they tend to do it, or if you have a really thin like cornea, because they can't cut the flap, there has to be like a certain thickness. Sometimes people that have a worse prescription need to do PRK instead. So there's lots of different reasons. There would be another thing that you could consider when you're getting the surgery, and I think it's for LASIK, and I think it's for both. One, you would correct maybe like 90% of the way, and then the other one 100%, and that would just allow you to hopefully maintain your like reading eyesight for a little longer. That's what they did with mine. They corrected one just a little under, and but I still can't tell because I still can't see anything. So I definitely am still struggling with the recovery. Also, because this is my second time getting it, what I read was that you'll have a similar experience to the first time. So my first time getting it was a breeze. I don't remember actually anything about it. I remember being like asleep on the couch for a few days, and then that was it. That's all I remember about it. So I thought that it would be the same experience, and I have to say it's wildly different. It feels like 2 totally separate events that happened in my life. So the first one being kind of a non-event, and this one being a lot. So okay, so that brings us, let's get to step 2, and that is prep. And so there's a few different things that you can prep. You can prep your body, you can prep your house, and you can prep your entertainment. So if you prep your body, that would be, what I read was taking vitamin C and taking the omega-3 fish oil. And so the omega-3 fish oil is like supposed to help with dry eyes, and it keeps you just like lubricated and like moisturized and stuff. I mean, it's good for your skin, it's good for everything. So that was one of the recommendations. Now, none of this was recommended from my actual doctor, and when I asked them about it, they were like, you don't really need to do that. I wanted to feel like I had some sort of like a, active role in my recovery. And so with vitamin C, what I read online was there's some evidence to support that it fights free radicals in the air. So while you're in that healing process and your epithelium is healing in those first that first week, that's when the free radicals from the air, your body can like process them or like make them not affect your eyes or something. So I am definitely not a doctor and don't want to just take my word for all of this. It's just what I've like researched and found, and what I thought had some like validity to it. So, and there was another study where it showed that it might help with like corneal haze. And so that's one of the like side effects that can happen with PRK. So I just thought, first of all, taking vitamin C and taking fish oil, I don't think has any detrimental effects. If anything, it's probably great to add those to my diet. So you weigh the pros and cons of taking them. I don't really see any cons with that, unless you're allergic to fish or something. Then maybe you could take I read someone took like flaxseed oil or something. So anyways, I thought it couldn't hurt, and if anything, even if it helped a minute bit, then why not? So that was for your body. And so for your home, I would suggest like getting your house in order. So like, having your laundry done, setting out like a few different like comfy clothes, like piles of comfy closed so you can find them easily, because it's gonna be really hard to see, because honestly, you're probably gonna have your eyes closed for like the first week after surgery. Yeah, just have like everything kind of caught up, so it's just nice and clean and cozy at home. And cause yeah, you're gonna be out of commission for like a hot minute. I would also get like a comfy little nest set up for yourself. So like maybe on the couch, you wanna have like some pillows and your blankets and that sort of thing. I found that sleeping sitting up actually was a lot easier on me and than laying down. So for a couple of reasons. For one, when I wore my sunglasses, and I wore them like the whole time, 24/7. I wore them when I was sleeping, and I just didn't want anything to get in my eyes. We have cats, we have dogs, and I just didn't want anybody to like, you know, jump on me, walk on me, whatever at any point. So I wore them the whole time, and when you're like sleeping, you know, the arms, like, you know, day 3, day 4, they're really digging in. And so I just found that sleeping up, sitting up prevents that a bit. I mean, you're still kind of leaning on your pillow, and then it also helps like keep your eyelids down. So when you like sleep at night, like they tend to like open a little bit. So like a little bit of a slit, and the last thing you want to do is have your like eyes drying out at all. So I just found it was easier on me to be sitting up, and I didn't really discover that until probably around day 3. And then after that, I just like slept pretty much sitting up every night. The comfort of having your eyes closed far outweighs the discomfort of sleeping upright. So I think your body only feels one kind of discomfort at a time. So your eye surgery supersedes the discomfort of sitting up. Yeah, so that's for your body, that's your home. And then for the entertainment piece, I ended up listening to Grey's Anatomy, because I know the show, and it's just like, you know, I can just have it on in the background, whatever I can miss, you know, I can fall asleep. It was just kind of monotonous, and I know all the characters, and so I could picture it and whatever, and kind of open my eyes here and there. Looking back on it now, I wish I had selected a different show, only because Grey's Anatomy, they're all doctors, so they're all wearing like white coats. And so when it's up on the screen, it's so bright. So even though you're not opening your eyes for the first few days, as you start kind of like squinting and like opening your eyes a bit, the white lab coat is a lot for your eyeballs. And yeah, it's something more like the Game of Thrones or something a little darker, probably would suit that, like would probably fix that maybe better. But anyways, hindsight of course is, well, for me, it's not even 2020 yet. So I would also have downloaded more podcasts. Because my phone, it was so hard to look at my phone. I couldn't even read the writing to download a podcast or anything like that. So, I mean, I could ask somebody to download them for me and whatever, but I just wish that I had downloaded maybe a few. It would have been easier maybe for them to select it from my library than to try to search them up and figure out, you know, the whole podcast thing if they're not really used to seeing it. The other thing I really wish I had done was download some YouTube videos about other people's experiences with PRK surgery. Like this video I'm creating right now, I would have loved to have been able to download it so then I could have listened to someone's whole experience from start to finish and just kind of like judged where I was in the process, because I wasn't as interested in the surgery and the recovery and everything until after I had it done. And then I was sitting there on day like 4, day 5, day 6, and I was like, what is happening? Like, why? I cannot see anything. I can't even open my eyes. Like, is this normal? I was starting to like freak out, and I wanted to research it, right? So now I'm like, oh man, like I can't read my phone. I can't do anything. I can barely search for a YouTube video that, you know, I can like play and listen to and whatever. So I wish that I had kind of a playlist of videos that I could just like let run, and I could hear people's experiences and hear how horrible it was, but that they're doing better now, and, you know, kind of judge where I fell in the spectrum of my recovery and experience with the surgery. So that is the prep. So now surgery day, and this was like, I showed up at 8 a.m. I was all like ready to go. I was excited. So I'm sitting there, and, you know, it's like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock rolls around. I'm still just waiting. Then they say like, you know, the doctor is not going to be here till 1. And it's like, okay. So they kind of want everyone there. And then whenever the process starts, then they just kind of like actually went almost like cattle, I have to say. Like, it was like, they just like, I don't know if they're pumping out numbers or what. It was interesting. So because I had sat there all day, the fluorescent lights, I started to get a migraine, and I ended up having like a full-blown migraine. So for my first like couple of days after, so that was like on top of everything else. It was crazy. So I get in at 3:30. It was like they give you numbing eye drops. And so those kind of settle in, and then they bring you into the room. You have your little like hat on and little booties and stuff. And then they just like laid me on this like hard bed, like under the laser. And I'm thinking, like, aren't you gonna like strap me down or something, or like strap my head down, because you're gonna have like a laser shooting into my eye and you expect me to sit so still during this process. So that made me a little bit nervous, because I thought that I would not be able to sit still for this laser. So anyway, so they laid me down, they put like a clamp on your eye. Then they decided to have a discussion about something. And so then he turned to me and like took the clamp out, and then a few minutes later put it back in. And this is like a metal clamp, like holding your eye open. So that hurt kind of like, so then I'm starting to get a little like freaked out, because I'm feeling like they're having a different experience and I'm like going under this like big, it's new for me, it's very old for them. So their kind of lackadaisical demeanor had the opposite effect. It didn't really put me at ease. It actually made me a lot more nervous. So of course now I'm getting myself a little worked up and I'm getting anxious. And anyway, so he does it, and they give me stress balls to hold on to, and I'm squeezing these things like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know, like I'm gonna wring gold out of them or something. And so he has something like a toothbrush, because now they've got to brush off the top like layer of my eyeball. And so he has this like vibrating like toothbrush, and all I can do is see this thing come closer and closer to my eye. And I was like, I don't think I could do this. And he's like, yeah, you can. And he just like puts it on my eyeball. And so I was like, oh my God, it was a lot happening, and I had no control over it. The only choice I had was to like lay still, because then I'm thinking also I'm gonna fuck up this laser. So he puts this toothbrush on my eye, scrubs away my eyeball, and it's making the noise like brrr kind of thing. And then the laser starts, and then you smell the burning. And so now I'm like, now it's a lot. And so then they switch eyes, they're doing the other one, and it's everything I can do to just like sit there and let these people do this to me. I wish they'd like strapped me down or something. And so then they finish, it's over. I get up and the doctor asked me, he says, oh, can you see clearly? And I was like, no, like I couldn't, not at all. Like it was blurry, but sometimes people after PRK can see clearly for like a minute or two, I guess. And definitely not me though. So anyway, so that made me also a little nervous, right? When he asked that, and my answer was like, no, not at all. And that was the end of the conversation. So, and then I'm sitting in this little room, just like letting my nerves kind of die down, whatever. And I have a moment there of like, I guess all the anxiety and the stress and whatever, and like waiting all day too. So like being impatient kind of going into it. So then I'm starting to like tear up and cry, and I'm like trying to hide it from this lady. And anyway, so they give me the sunglasses, I'm fine, I make it through, whatever. And then after the surgery as well, they put in a bandage on your eye. And so it's just a contact lens. And so what happens after that, they bring you into a room afterwards to make sure that it fits well. So now you've just had this surgery. Now they want to like hold your eye open and use that super bright light, because they're looking to see if it fits, and your eyes are like watering, and it's like a lot. So the other one didn't fit the way that they wanted it to, so she had to take it out. So the way that she got it out of my eye was with metal tweezers, and like had to like get the contact. I mean, I don't know how else to explain it, except she's taking metal tweezers at my eyeball and taking this contact out. Puts in another one, looks, still isn't happy with it, has to take it out again, and that eye ended up being like I could not open it for a few days. It hurt a lot more than the other one, and it was like, I can't even remember what eye it was now, so it's obviously fine, but it definitely gave me some issues for like in that week afterwards. So so then I just go out, and my husband's there, and he walks, we go out to the car, and of course I'm just keeping my eyes closed. And then you have to pick up the prescription. So that was kind of the other thing, was we had to get the prescription after. So you just want to like, or what I did, what I called the pharmacy to make sure that they had received it, and they hadn't. So in that waiting time, I made sure that they had gotten it and that they had filled it, so we could just run in and get it. But it's kind of like a big deal to have those drops. And so if anything happens after surgery and you can't get them right away, like that's stressful. So so that was kind of the surgery day. The next, now here we are for recovery. So recovery is probably the most like interesting part for everyone. My recovery, I'm gonna break it up into weeks. So the first week is, we'll call it day 1 to day 7, and that's kind of the healing week, but I would even say that's just the recovery week. So they give me pain meds, so they gave me T3s. I think the first time when I had surgery, they must have given me like way stronger meds. I mean, that was 20 years ago and they weren't probably as cautious with like pain meds and stuff then. So I'm sure it was way stronger, but because I just slept and I don't remember any of the pain. So they did give me T3s. I was kind of funny about taking T3s, so I didn't want to take them. So I didn't take them for the first couple of days. Now I did have my migraine, so I thought that a lot of the pain was due to my migraine. And they also gave me numbing drops. So I wanted to use the numbing drops every single second of the day. When I called and asked for more, because I was like pretty upset on day like 3 or 4, because it was still like a lot of pain. And so I'm using these numbing drops and it gives me like a little bit of relief for honestly probably like 3 minutes. I'm using these numbing drops like a lot, and then I start taking T3s because I just like, I'm realizing like there's a reason why they prescribed them and I need them. So I take the T3s, I'm using the numbing drops. And then it's like day 3 happens and it's just getting worse. And I'm thinking like, I cannot possibly sit in this dark room listening to the show, like whatever, for another day. And then cause I think like, okay, I'll wake up tomorrow and it's gonna be better. And sure enough, like it wasn't, it was worse, right? And so now at this point, I'm like calling the doctor. I'm like, what's going on? This is nuts. And they didn't want to give me any more numbing drops because apparently that slows down your recovery. And I was like, okay, so I had a choice to make, right? Do I want to slow down this recovery process to ease some of this discomfort, or do I want to just like grin and bear it? So I said, no, don't give it to me. I didn't want to do anything that was going to slow that down. I just wanted it done and over with. So then I go back at the end of that week and they take off the bandages. Again, she's at me with these metal tweets. I just cannot, but like, then do I want her fingers in my eye as well? Like big, beefy, fingers. Not that she was very small and dainty, but to me it's like big, huge fingers in my eye. So I don't know. But anyway, so out they come. And that feels awful. That feels like they're peeling off a layer of skin in your eyeball. And so I thought it would be a relief. I thought it would take away some of that graininess or feeling like something was in your eye. It was way worse. I would have preferred leaving them in had I had the choice afterwards or had known. So week 2 is day 8 to 14. I go back for some more like checkups or whatever, and I still can't drive. I still don't have the okay to drive. And there's no way I would even be able to drive still. I can't, I'm super light sensitive. I can't look at my phone. I still can't watch TV. It was that full 2 weeks that I couldn't do anything. I mean, it was everything just to open my eyes, to put drops in my eyes. At the end of that second week, so the beginning of the third week, that's where I don't even really think the light sensitivity eased up, but I had to open a restaurant. And so I had to like have my eyes open. I had sunglasses on, but I was inside and I'd have to like take a break every little bit and like put my drops in and just kind of close my eyes for a bit. And, I could only kind of really give it like a few hours at a time. And thank God I had lots of help around me and stuff, but that was a lot. So I thought that I was going to be all better. I certainly wouldn't have planned it and tried to, have surgery before a big event like that. Not to mention that also at the end of this third week, I'm leaving for Europe for 3 weeks. And so I thought for sure I was going to be like good to go, no issues, no problems. I let them know that I was traveling. They seemed to think there was no issues. So I think all of that just put me into this like false sense of security that like everything was going to be fine. I'd be good to go after a week, but it wasn't like that at all. So in that third week, and I mean at the very end of the third week, so 21 days, that's when she gave me the okay to drive, but it was like with caution. And I think because she knew I was leaving for Europe, she was okay to give me the thumbs up. I still didn't feel comfortable enough to drive. I mean, I couldn't even see if there was somebody standing on the side of the road, like, cause it's just so fuzzy. So I would just say, be prepared to not be able to look at a computer. So if you do any work from a computer, like not only is it so bright that you can hardly handle it, but I had to look at the computer like this close to be able to read anything. And I actually had to get my mom to help me with my office work because I had to pay my GST, I had to do a bunch of stuff. And so I had to have a bunch of stuff done and couldn't do any of it. So thank God she helped me with all of it. Then I leave for Europe and now, the light sensitivity is still there, but it's starting to ease up. I mean, I would say the progression on the healing process itself was so slow and so minimal that day to day, I couldn't tell that it was changing or getting better. It wasn't until like halfway through Europe that I realized I could look at my phone and watch some of a show on, at night, we'd put on a little show on our Netflix or whatever. And I realized that I didn't have to wear my sunglasses. I still couldn't read the boards to see where our gates were or anything like that. So my daughter, thank goodness, was the navigator for our trip. Yeah, it was so slow, and I wouldn't even say steady because it didn't feel like every day was a bit of a progression. It felt like nothing until you kind of look back and you're like, oh wow, that was crazy. Like I couldn't see. And so that was the whole, so that took me into like the 4th week, because now we're traveling. And so it kind of gets a little muddy for me. The 5th week, so that was definitely in that last week of our traveling where I could look at my phone without sunglasses. I still had to I wore them a lot though, because it was just way easier on my eyes. I still wear them anytime I go outside or anything like that. But now I can watch TV with ease, look at my phone. Yeah, I guess because the way your eyes heal, they heal from the outside in. So if the healing happens right over your pupil, that's when it's like blurry the longest, light sensitivity the longest, that sort of thing. And so sometimes people can get lucky and it kind of does the healing like over on the side. And so the light that's coming in it's not as abrasive throughout that healing process. For me, unfortunately, it happened right over the pupil, so on both eyes. So it was just like laser beams in my eyes for like a month. That's kind of the recovery. So now the eye drops, you want to get the preservative-free ones. I'll put the ones that I liked the best up on screen. The HydroSense, I just found them to be the best. I tried all different kinds. Some were too watery. Oh, and I used the gel ones at night. And so just put them on like the rim of my eyes. Once my eyes were closed, that was it. They were sealed for the night. And the gel was okay, but I actually also have it's like a Vaseline, what I used at night when I got home. And then I find that throughout the day, I don't need as much of the eye drops. I hardly use them at all now. What I've read is that your eyes can get like dependent on eye drops after you use them for like an extended period of time. And so I was just starting to feel like maybe that's where I was getting to. And if I'm staring at the computer, I'll use the eye drops here and there. If I feel like I have something in them, I for sure would use it just to like wash it out. Find that the Vaseline kind of at night just keeps them nice and lubricated, keeps them closed. And I really like the way that it feels. So, I don't know that I need to use it, but I definitely like having it. So it does make my vision a little blurry in the morning because of course it's like a thicker layer, but I do find like when I put the eye drop in, it creates like kind of a coat over my eye, and then I can see everything super clear for a little while. So that's what gives me some hope that, oh, maybe my eyesight will get to that point once it's fully healed. Anyways, it can take up to 6 months apparently for your vision to get 20/20. So I also wish that I had done a bit more research going into it. I definitely would have just found experiences because I wanted it done so badly, it didn't really matter. So that's probably why I didn't do a lot of research. I would have just found people's stories and experiences to support the decision I wanted to make. So, I would have just cherry picked the information I wanted to hear. So I don't know that it would have had any effect on the outcome, but it would have been nice having all the information going into it. Because I didn't know I would be out for as long as I was, and I didn't know that I wouldn't be able to like look at computer screens and my phone, and that everything was going to be so blurry still, and that I wouldn't be able to drive for 3 weeks. So there was a lot of stuff like that if I had known, I just could have been better prepared for it. I still would have made the choice that I made because I was so bent on getting it done. So yeah, if I had to do it again now, I'm not sure. You'd have to ask me when my vision's 20/20. I think that would be probably the most fair indication of if I would have it done or not. Maybe with a little bit more distance between the surgery and the recovery and then being able to see 20/20. I will remember it more fondly than I am right now. Right now, it's still like, holy crap, that was a lot. What did I do to myself? And that kind of brings me into the last stage or whatever, and that was 6, and that is your mood. So I did like a little chart just to like remind me like how I felt. And so I kind of felt, just whatever going into it, like excited. And then immediately after, my mood was way low. I totally was like, what did I do to myself? I was really questioning my decision, and I was pretty like disappointed actually with the whole kind of thing. And so it was pretty low. And then it kind of just like evened out for that day or so. Then it got lower because I thought, okay, well, at least tomorrow when I wake up, I'll start feeling better. And I didn't. And then I thought that day, and then the next morning I didn't. I actually felt worse. And so, feeling you're at the most pain that you think you're gonna experience, and then the next day you wake up and it's worse, is like, it's pretty heartbreaking. And so, especially because it's something that you've done to yourself, so then you really are feeling down on yourself, whatever. I was pretty depressed, I would have to say, for that week, with just having to keep my eyes closed and in pain, and knowing I had done it to myself. So then I'm feeling sorry for myself because I've put myself in this situation, and now I need all these people to like help me. And and of course it's hard to ask for help anyways. And so that was my mood kind of the first week. It was like, you know, here, and then it got lower, and then it kind of evened out, but then it went lower, and yeah, and that was also unexpected, that I would feel a little despondent. That, of course, just all like compounded on each other. Then I couldn't do any research, so now I'm feeling a little like, a little lost and like anxious, and yeah, and so then it kind of just like trucks along, and so because every day it doesn't feel like it's getting slightly better, it just kind of, it feels like it's just kind of staying the same, that just wears on you. And so you just get, so I just felt tired going into the second week, and at the end of that second week, I felt worn out. I felt like I had used all my backup positivity, my backup, you know, energy or whatever, and then I was just like, all my fuel tank was just empty. It just took a lot out of me emotionally. Yeah, I have to say now though, like, I still like, it's not like I wake up and I see better or anything like that, but now that I realize like the light sensitivity is gone, that gives me a huge boost, that I can look at my phone, or I can watch TV, or I can look at the computer screen. Like, I'm like, okay, I can put up with the fuzziness. Like, I'm pretty good with that now. And yeah, oh, and make sure you buy yourself sunglasses. Have a couple pairs so you can play with. I was looking to see if I had any here, and I don't, but yeah, have a couple pairs of sunglasses. I had to buy some like after the fact, because they give you like these like super like Ray-Ban kind of ones, and they're great. They cover everything, but you're gonna want to probably look a little more spicy than that. So anyways, that was my experience with PRK surgery, and yeah, it definitely wasn't great, but if you have any questions or comments, or you just want to talk about it, let me know in the comments, and I totally will reach out. I'll answer any questions that you might have. I would just say, knowing that it's going to be an event would have been something that I just wish I had known going into it. Yeah, and to maybe have cleared my schedule and done a little bit more prep on like the work side of stuff, just so I wasn't so stressed out or like trying to figure stuff out. So thanks very much for watching, and I hope this helps someone, anyone, even if it's just one person. Yeah, good luck to you. And if you're right in the middle of it and you're feeling despondent and like there's, you know, it does get better. It might be slow, but it does get better, and looking back on it, it doesn't seem so bad. You're not alone, that is for sure. Anyways, thanks very much for watching, and if you liked anything I had to say or whatever, and you want to check out some of my other videos, that would be awesome. And I will catch you in the next video, I guess then. Bye.